Hello guys, welcome back. This is JJ Problems. This is another video. This is with Monique. Shout out to the Breakfast Club. This is her interview a couple of years back where she did this interview at the Breakfast Club. If this is your first time tuning in, press that like and subscribe. I appreciate it. I titled this video, Monique, is it time to own our own Hollywood movies and actors? This is number 3. This is another actor. Years ago, she was complaining about her pay, and Charlamagne the God gave her Donkey of the Day, and she wanted to have a conversation with him. Well, let's get into the video, guys. Hit that like and subscribe button.
I'm wonderful. I am wonderful. How you doing, Sister Angela? You good? It's all right to get on up and hold on to me. Good morning, sweetness.
DJ Envy over there.
Charlamagne the God, he made sure he gave her a hug. He's like, Monique about to go off. But check her out though. She coolin'.
All right, sweetness. I will get around to you, but it's crowded.
All right.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the God. We are the Breakfast Club. We have a special guest in the building.
Absolutely.
Miss Monique.
Hey, my babies. Good morning. Good morning.
Her
Good
husband's
morning.
on the phone line as well.
Brother
Sydney,
Sydney.
good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, y'all.
Now, when Monique walked in, I gave her a hug. I wanted her to know it's all love.
Yes, he did, my love.
We just here to have a conversation.
That's all we're doing.
That's all. Now, what's going on today, Miss Monique?
Well, baby, first I want to say to Eddie, to your producer, thanks for sharing the platform with us. And a while ago, when I came up with
that wasn't Eddie. That was us both.
Eddie lucky he here. All right?
Okay, well, okay. Let me thank all three of y'all for sharing your platform with me and my husband.
All right.
But a while ago, I had to come out and I spoke in reference to Netflix. That we had to I was asking folks to stand with us as we boycott Netflix for gender bias and color bias.
Correct.
And we were fighting for equality. And then I found out that I had become Donkey of the Day.
Yes.
By Leonard. And I gotta call you by your name, baby, because
Leonard.
Yes. Okay. Okay, baby. He's getting real special, Leonard. But we're going, Leonard.
It is Leonard.
And then I was called Donkey of the Day, and it really caught me off guard. Because when I met this brother some years ago, and I always go back to it because I met him in an elevator at Turner Station. And I met a young man that was full of humility and respect. And when I got on that elevator, he actually held the door. I remember like it was yesterday.
Yes, ma'am.
And I said, oh, baby, thank you. And he was just like that. Yes, ma'am. And Miss Monique, it's a pleasure to meet you. And we had a very beautiful exchange. And I said to that brother, tell your mama that she raised you right.
That's a
And
fact.
he said it was my mama and my grandmama.
Yes, ma'am.
So I felt like this was, and it still is, a beautiful young brother making his way, but full of humility and respect. Till we fast forward, and I become Donkey of the Day. So I didn't want to have it to be hearsay. I didn't want to have anybody exchange words that I may have said to him. So my husband and I wanted to come on so we could understand how I got titled Donkey of the Day.
So why'd you give a donkey today, Charlamagne?
Well, I think it was due to the whole Netflix situation. When I heard you say that, you wanted us to boycott because of racial and gender bias, but then you went on to mention 2 brothers and a woman. So I said maybe she should be more specific and say black woman gender bias. But then also just from a business aspect, I wanted to know, why did you feel like, you should have gotten whatever Chris Rock got, whatever Dave Chappelle got, or whatever Amy Schumer got? Because I feel like this is a what are you doing for me right now type of industry.
Well, she didn't say what they got. She said she should have got more than she was offering.
And then Charlamagne, you brought up an old Netflix special as well.
But that was later on. But my point was, like, this is the what are you doing for me right now kind of industry. We all know Monique is a legend, but we also know that.
And guys, just to interrupt, you see DJ Envy acts, well, he stated that the same thing that Taraji's saying. They should have offered her more than what they offered her. It's not that she was saying that she should have got as much as Dave Chappelle and the other people, but she should have been offered more. The same thing Taraji P. Henson is saying. And this was some years back. So
know that those deals that Netflix are giving out are based off recent stand-up shows, recent concert, recent arenas, recent tours like that. So I just wanted to know why you felt like you deserved that much.
Well, Daddy, would you like to start or would you like for me?
Whichever you prefer. But, if we're going to go back to the conversation that we had with Robbie, it didn't start with the offer where the color bias and the disrespect transpired. It started from when we had our initial conversation after Monique got her reviews from the nights in which Benjamin and Caitlin, who were representatives for Netflix, came out to see Monique, in which on 2 different nights they saw her get a standing ovation, which subsequently gave them reviews of amazing and great show. So when we're in the midst of having the conversation prior to them giving the offer, we're in the midst, and he says, well, I want to make it very clear that, people speak about Dave Chappelle, Amy Schumer, and what they got. I want to just make it clear, so we can manage expectations that everybody doesn't get those type of deals. Well, when we're in the midst of that conversation, the phone disconnects. We never reconvene. He never gets us back on. And our attorney calls me up, and we speak, and we're like, well, that was strange. Are we going to get back on the phone or not? Because anybody who does business knows that this is a key time in which to build the value of your client. Then we came back with an offer that they allegedly had sent over that our attorney and I had never received. And then on that, it was a certain time limit in which we were supposed to respond. Well, we had passed the time limit because we never received it. When our attorney had asked them to please resend the offer that they had allegedly sent, it was clear that it had never been sent in the first place. That's the second red flag. When we get on the phone to discuss the offer that they had then finally sent over, initially they didn't want to have the conversation until I expressed to them, it is very ironic that the call we had was disconnected. We never reconvened. You became evasive. You can't get on the phone. Now I have to express what it's feeling like, which is gender bias, color bias, and there's also an age issue that we did discuss that's in there as well. So those 3 things are what led to it, in conjunction with the fact that the very items that he said did not translate for Monique, which were her resume, what she's done in terms of movies, it didn't translate, but he said those were the things that translated for Amy Schumer.
Now,
we just wanted to know, why did it work for Amy, but it doesn't work for her? Because what she just did in terms of what Monique's body of work contends with or resulted in, it's all part of the resume, just like Amy Schumer's resume. So why does Amy's resume work and Monique does not? And they could not explain that.
Well, if you're just joining us, that's Sydney. That's Monique's managing husband. If you're just joining us, so you can, know the voices.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I want you to go ahead.
Well, I don't think Amy Schumer is funny. That's number one. But she did sell out 50 arenas around the world, including MSG, and HBO wanted her as well. So she created a bidding war based on those stats. So I assume that's the reason her number was at that place.
Well, I want to address something because you said, I assume. And then you also said in the beginning when you start talking, you said, Monique is a legend. That's what you said.
Absolutely.
Right? And then when Robbie Prohl and Netflix also says.
So my question is, if she's a legend, why can't she get paid more than what they offered her? That's, if you're a legend, if everybody's saying she's a legend and she's a good comedian. I like her as a stand-up comedian, one of the females. But hey, let's get back into it.
Monique is a legend, correct?
Absolutely.
And you believe that Chris Rock is a legend, as I do as well.
Yes.
And you would say Dave Chappelle is a legend, right?
Absolutely.
What makes me a different legend from Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock?
Well, when it comes to that Netflix special, the fact that Dave Chappelle did 1,500 shows prior to signing his Netflix deal. Chris Rock was on tour with the Total Blackout Tour, selling our shows arenas around the world before they did that Netflix
And they also
deal.
lured him away from HBO.
Well, I understand what y'all are coming to the table. When I came to the table and I said, guys, and I said it humbly, I'm the most decorated comedian alive. And I said that humbly. And then some people said, oh, Monique is crazy, till it was proven. Till everybody actually saw the numbers and said, well, I guess she's right about that. And when you say this is a what have you done for me lately, the question is, how much more do I have to do, brother? Because when you do a film called Almost Christmas, and that film has a $17 million budget, but it makes $45 million. And then my sister Amy Schumer does a film called Snatched, and that film makes $45 million, but it has a budget of $42 million. Now, what's the profit on that? I'm asking the question.
Yours made a lot more profit than Amy's did.
Well, it was actually a $25 million profit.
Mm-hmm.
But that movie, Amy did her Netflix deal before Snatch.
No, because he said, Robbie Pross said that was what made him also give it a deal because of the big movie that she had coming out.
Right.
And that's where we had to check.
Well, coming out. That was but she did the Netflix deal before that movie came out.
Well, we actually talked to the vice president of Netflix, Leonard.
Right.
And what happens is when you're basing off of what you're assuming, and then you give me a title of Donkey of the Day. Is your mother still alive?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're from what city in South Carolina?
Moncks Corner, South Carolina.
Moncks Corner. And if I was to call your mother or your grandmother, could they tell me stories of inequality that they had to deal with?
Absolutely.
So would your mother be a donkey?
No.
Would your grandmother be a donkey?
No.
I need you to explain how you gave me the title, because explaining it, you're going off of what I assume, but because you're on that microphone, and when we open up these microphones, we know just how powerful our voices can be, don't we, Angela?
Yes, we do.
And we know that what we say can become law, correct, Leonard?
Absolutely.
So when we do that, we must then explain it to our community, because we know how poisonous it can be when we put things out, but we can't back it up. We just say it.
I think that I think everything you're saying about racial bias is absolutely correct. Gender bias is absolutely correct. We know that the black woman is unappreciated and undervalued in a lot of different industries. But I think that when it comes to this Netflix situation, it's very specific. I think it's more of an individual thing than it is a collective problem. Like, can you honestly?
What we ask you is this: can you say, if it's an individual problem, how come that there are no individuals of color who happen to be female comedians that have had the multiple million-dollar paydays with Netflix? Because what happens with the black community, it's what have you done lately? But when you are a white person in this industry, it's you're only as good as your last project.
I thought it was drawing power. I thought it was
exactly
the amount of people that will watch a special.
Do you think this is specific to comedians? Because I do know they've given out multi-million-dollar deals to Ava DuVernay, Shonda Rhimes. So you think it's specific to the comedy industry?
Well, I'll let you answer it. What black female comedian got the multi-million-dollar deal? Name her.
I know.
But don't you think it's coming? I'm sure
Yeah.
Tiffany Haddish will be presented with something if she hasn't already.
Well, but we got to speak about the sisters that's done it. See, when Wanda Sykes is number 100 on Comedy Central's top comedians ever.
Number 70.
I'm sorry, Daddy, number 70 on the top 100 ever. But they offer her $250. So what do you say to that, Leonard?
Well, I actually asked about that. I spoke to somebody at Netflix, and they offered that deal to Wanda Sykes before this guy that does these stand-up deals even got in the position. They offered this deal to her some years ago.
Does it seem strange that you always have an answer when our finish line keeps getting moved?
When our finish line keeps getting moved?
When our finish line keeps getting moved. When I say, name me one black female comedian that's got the $1 million payday, I'm waiting to hear the answer.
Right. So you think it's specific to comedians? Because I don't know on Netflix any. But I can't.
They still ain't answering her question. How come she's Donkey of the Day? And they still ain't answer which female comedian.
Say for sure.
In history, name her.
Well, I would ask what black female comedian has sold out 50 arenas around the world.
Well, what I would tell
MSG?
you is there's 4 beautiful black female comedians that we just got a Legends Award. Her name is Samore. Her name is Adele. Her name is Miss Laura. Her name is Monique. And when the Queens of Comedy was on tour, see, we made history. And I don't know if you've done your homework, because we were the only female group, black, white, Latin, Asian, to sell out consecutively around this country. Mm-hmm. But you'll disregard that because you'll say, well, what did you do yesterday? So you can't take it away.
But if I'm doing business, and I'm basing it off doing a deal with somebody who did this last year as opposed to doing it 15 years ago or 20 years ago, whenever it was, wouldn't it make more sense to do it with the person who did it just a couple years ago?
If you're doing business and you say, what's Monique's resume? Now you're the businessman and you're looking at that resume and everything on that resume says number one. Everything on that resume says sell out. Now all of a sudden, is it going to change, businessman?
Yeah. If I had to sign Kobe Bryant today, I'm not going to give Kobe Bryant $100 million contract.
Well, you're right.
But his resume is amazing.
The difference between Kobe Bryant today and Monique today is when you 36 in the game of basketball, you done lost your step. When you are 50 years old in the game of comedy, you're seasoned. And if they had to come to Netflix, to your point, because you make a very good point, and Monique had to stumble like a 40-year-old or a 38-year-old Kobe Bryant who's got a ruptured Achilles heel that you got to bounce back from, then it would make sense. But if he dropped 50 and still was dropping buckets, what would you say? Because they watched 2 standing ovations in 2 sold-out clubs.
You're absolutely right, Brother City. But let me ask you this. Why not put together a theater or arena tour and sell that out and then come back to the table? Our table special yourself.
But it doesn't have to go there. See, my whole thing is that's something else. We're talking about the money offered. And my whole thing is, as a businessman, being a legend and all that doesn't necessarily matter. It's who the people want to see. You could be a legend and people love you, but if you can't attract the people to come to the place to see you or to come to Netflix to watch you, it doesn't mean anything.
Y'all talking about selling out clubs versus selling out arenas.
I'm saying Netflix as well.
But here would be the question.
You know what I mean?
Here would be the question. Almost Christmas. Would you say that was a hit movie?
Definitely a hit movie.
Would you say Bessie was a hit?
Yes.
Would you say
Precious
was a hit?
Absolutely.
So the question is, so Monique, you didn't do nothing in 2017 that was on TV that we could see. So that means you're irrelevant?
I don't think anything's irrelevant. Not at all.
What happens is, if you see these number ones, and here's where, when someone said to me, Monique, does it become disheartening when it's your folks? It's understandable. I don't take offense. It's understandable, and I'll explain why. When I have to sit here and not defend, but explain to people that look like me, well, when did I become irrelevant? If there was a movie I'll call Almost Christmas, in 2016? This is 2018. So now all of a sudden, we don't know if people are going to show up and show out. Now, when I did a show called The Bernie and Sid Show, I'm sure you know those brothers, 2 white brothers. And when I walked in there, Leonard, I walked in with a preconceived notion that I was going to have to defend myself.
Correct.
Because one is a strong Trump supporter and the other is a Democrat. But I'm thinking I'm going to have to walk in and defend myself with these white brothers. After 5 minutes of us talking, they shut their show down. And they said, Monique, we're going to call this what this is. This is nothing but racism. And we can't sit back and allow it and watch it happen. So no, we're going to tell our listeners to boycott Netflix until they get it right, because you are a legend and we have to honor and respect you. Now, those are my white brothers. Then when I was in San Jose with some of my Latin brothers, they did the same thing. They shut their show down because they said, we got to call it for what it is. See, Monique, we've grown up watching you. We've grown up and you've made us feel better. We've grown up and our children are now watching you. Then I come to my folks and I have to be donkey of the day, which you still haven't explained, Leonard, and you're going to have to. Because when you make those type of statements about your sister to our community, what you're saying to the community is, as Black women, you're devalued. And if you stand up and you make a stand and you say, we need equality, and we have to say what's right and what's fair. And then a brother that looks like me from South Carolina says, you're the donkey of the day. You have to explain that to our community.
I've explained it. I said that I think that you're using race.
Yeah, that's Monique. Monique came in there. She came in there and said, you're going to have to put some respect on my name. But y'all like and subscribe, drop a comment. Y'all tell me what y'all think. I think it's just another actor. And this was years ago when this was aired. Shout out to the Breakfast Club, Charlamagne and DJ Envy. That was almost 8 years ago, 7 years ago, and you still having actors complaining about black actors complaining about equal pay. So, you know, me personally, I think the black actors should get together, make their own Hollywood. I think it's time. That's why I titled this, is it time to make your own Hollywood? I think so. Y'all drop a comment. Tell me what y'all think. Peace and love to y'all.